Welcome, captains, to the Priority 1 shipyard. I hope you are all ready for today's review. You might be able to tell what ship we'll be looking at by my dress. Can you guess? Today, we'll be looking at the California Miracle Worker Utility Cruiser, aka the Cerritos. That's right, captains, we are dipping our toes into lower decks today, but before we get into that, here is the breakdown of what we'll be going over in today's review. First off, we'll be doing the ship layout along with the consoles I'm using for the ship traits, the bridge officer layout, the ship stats, and then we're going to run 2 TFOs, ISA and Hive Onslaught, and then 2 patrols, wanted in the 9th rule. Once that is done, we'll give it any final thoughts, and we'll take a little spin around the Sol system to see how it looks. Alright, gentlemen and captains and ladies, let's go ahead and get started. So up first, we're going to go ahead and just skip the customization that I usually do for ships, because let's face it, the Cerritos is already gorgeous looking. So we're just going to skip over that portion and go straight to its build and its design and all of the little extra bits and bobs that the ship comes with if you end up acquiring one of these. So by default, the ship is a 4-4 layout. It is a cruiser. It comes with a deflector, impulse, warp, and shields. This is a T6X2, so it does come with additional console slots and 2 device slots. By default, without those upgrades, though, you would get 4 device slots, 1 universal console, 5 engineering, 3 science, and 3 tactical. But with it upgraded, you get 6 device slots, 3 universal consoles, and the latter of the rest. So engineering, science, and tactical would stay the same. We're going to start off first by going over the weapon types I have on board. Up first, we do have the Obliviating Phaser Beam Arrays. I like these very much because they give a 5% chance of a plus 30 armor penetration and 100% shield penetration, which is a very nice way of kind of munching on people's shields a lot faster. So the proc is very nice. I prefer this over Agony anyway. I do prefer, though, Agony's beam effect that it has when you fire them. This is more like a burst and it stops. But regardless, it's a really good weapon. If you can get your hands on them, they're really good. The torpedo, we're using the Prolonged Engagement Photon Torpedo just because of its wide angle. The Prolonged Engagement has 180 targeting arc compared to your traditional torpedoes, which I believe have a 90-degree targeting arc. And running a Miracle Worker, you're running usually mixed armors or synergy, so anytime you fire a torpedo, it will enhance your beam arrays. So I want to be able to fire torps as much as possible. So that's why we have the wide angle on board. Then we're also running the Terran Task Force Phaser Beam Array from the Terran Task Force Reputation. This gives a nice procs. You get a 2.5 chance of applying a stack of Withering Radiation, which lasts for 60 seconds and stacks 5 times, which is really good for just extra damage. It still does some decent phaser damage with some extra stuff built in there, which is okay. The Deflector is the latter, stuff we've done before. The Elite Fleet Interventor Proto Matter Deflector, the Competitive Engines, along with our Elite Fleet Plasma Integrated Warp Core, Achilles Shields, as always, because increased shield capacity, the more shield damage you do. And then for our aft weapons, it's the same thing. It's all Obliterating Phasers, although we do have one of the omnidirectional phaser beams, which this is a very hard item to acquire. It drops very rarely from the lockbox. So if you can find on the exchange, they are not going to be cheap. So that's my forewarning to you. For the universal slots, we do have Regenerate Incendiary Field from the Samsung Cruiser. This is just a good way to keep me alive as a cruiser. It's a hull heal, along with shields and stuff like that. So it does help keep me alive for as long as possible. We're running the Reformed Living Constructs off of the Protostar. I thought this would be a good, interesting way to help mitigate some incoming damage, since we are portionally a tank and DPS, so we kind of have to play both worlds. Basically what this does is, if you ever watched the Protostar video we did, anything with inside 5 kilometers up to 8 target foes, they start fighting each other about 20 seconds and they receive an extra 150% damage from anything that attacks it. So it's a good kind of hurt each other and don't hurt me kind of deal. Then we have Weaponized Helicopter Tortortion. Just because of the phaser damage and the crit severity, that's all I'm really after. The clicky's meh. It's nothing special. You have to get pretty close to your targets for that to actually do anything. For engineering, the console that came with this ship, Terraforming Emission, Its passive gives you a 33% flight speed while out of combat, a 76 power transfer rate, and a 38 starship shield regeneration, which increases your passive shield regeneration, which is pretty good. And then the clicky is absolutely hilarious. It creates a chasing gas cloud that does physical damage and slows down enemies. It creates a series of terraforming emissions clouds at your location, total of 8 clouds, which last 30 seconds apiece. Clouds affect all foes within 1 kilometer and 1 foe within 5 kilometer, which it will chase. Clouds reduce flight speed and turn rate by 50%. The clouds deal up to 4,578 physical damage per second. This damage increases with proximity. If the foe is defeated while affected by the cloud, they will create a new cloud which lasts for 30 seconds and seeks out another foe within 5 kilometers. So basically, it's a never-ending cycle of clouds killing them. I can't exactly the name of the episode this was shown off in, but basically the Cerritos was getting surrounded by just terraforming stuff, and it was about to get destroyed, and they kind of saved it. I can't remember I gotta figure out what the episode name was. But it's a fun console, and it's hilarious. It's just fun watching. The rest of the stuff, dynamic power redistributor. This is something we use on a lot of my builds. It gives you hull heal plus bonus damage for anything above 80% hull. Good old dynamo for the phaser and the accuracy rating. Stimulating module for the crit chance and crit severity. Experimental power redirection for Excelsior 2, just because it's a nice beam attack. For science, we're running the temporal disentanglement suit. On a converter from the low-buy store, and a binary and feeder circuits from the low-buy store. For tactical, it's all the same. We're using the exploiters as always. These you get from the Spire, your fleet Spire, if it's up high tier enough. These are very good for getting crit severity and phaser damage. There is another one, I think it's called a vulnerability locator, which gives you crit chance instead of crit severity. So it depends on what you want to do with it. Next, we're going to go into the ship traits. I'm only going to go over the starship traits. The personal space traits are not usually something. It's very different depending on what your captain is doing. But before we actually get into that, let me go over the trait that the ship comes with. So this is a T6 ship, so it does come with its own little trait. Basically, it's called Lower Decks Initiative. Ensign buff abilities grant recharge speed for commander buff abilities and captain abilities. So anytime you activate an ensign rank bridge officer ability, provides a stacking buff that lasts 2 minutes, max of 10 stacks. It gives you a 2% recharge reduction on commander rank abilities and 2% recharge on captain abilities. This is a good placeholder if you don't say have Boimler effect. Boimler effect does ladder, and it's an interesting way of doing it. It's a way of tying in the lower decks, the ensigns of the ship, making the captain and the commanders work better and faster. But if you have Boimler effect, I would recommend using Boimler effect over this trait, because Boimler effect affects anytime you activate any ability, it just resets everything else. With that being said, let's go back to the traits. Up first, energy weapon lancing from the Texas. Airway of shield hacking. Emergency weapon cycle. We're going to do Probat. Heart of Soul. Ship of the Line. And then Thunder Run. A lot of these traits are kind of universal. I use on different the same build on different ships. It makes it very easy with moving over and depending on what ship I want to do and how I want to do the build. Because I am a big cruiser player, so that's just what I usually play around with. But let's head over to the bridge officer stations. Up first is a Lieutenant Commander Universal / Miracle Worker Station. A Lieutenant Universal Station. A Commander Engineer / Miracle Worker Station. Instant Universal Station. A Lieutenant Commander Engineering Station. I do find that the bridge officer seating on this ship is not as one-sided as most ships. Yes, sure, has 2 engineering seats that are practically both commander, but the science and the tactical seats that I'm using, because they're all universal seatings, you can kind of fill a mount. You can get at least 3 of each of those fields in. So it's a good kind of mixture of both. That's what you want to do. Like, I like having a good mix of DPS and tanking, because let's face it, there are going to be points where you have to tank damage. Like if you're doing story missions by yourself or doing advanced stuff by yourself, you got to be able to take damage, or make it to where you don't take damage and you can't get hit. With that being said, we're going to head and beam up, and we're going to look at the stats. So, alright, here we are in Sol System. I will say the ship is absolutely gorgeous. Like, the detailing they put into it is phenomenal. Just the way it kind of feels like it got ripped right out of the show. You got a little window there for the bridge, phaser banks. Like, the ship just looks stunning. It just does. Stunning. I mean, look at the detail. Like, they got a little insignia right there, and then lines and stuff. The cells look really sleek. Just looks really nice. They did a really good job at designing the ship. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the stats. For defense rating is 50. Hull is 98,000. Hull repair rate 163% a minute. Shield facings are all 15,000 with a 2,000 regeneration every 6 seconds. Our resistance is about 39% for every field. Almost. Radiation's low. That's about it. But almost 40% for each facing. Or not facing, but each resistance, which is pretty good for something that's not trying to tank. For attack, the accuracy rating is 51. Crit chance is 32. And crit severity is 248%. While movement, the big thing that cruisers struggle in, inertia is 50, flight speed is 47.79, and the turn rate is 5.8 degrees a second. It's not great. It's not top of the line. But you know what? It does what it's got to do. It's a cruiser. It's not made to go fast. That being said, we're going to go ahead and queue up for our TFOs. Hopefully we can get in pretty quick. We're going to queue for an ISA and Hive Onslaught. As I've said in other videos, Hive Onslaught is a good way of testing the tankiness of a ship while seeing how well it can do DPS fast enough to keep it from dying. What's up first? Perfect. While ISA is mainly only good for testing your DPS and how quick you can do it. So while we wait for it to queue, please leave your thoughts down below in the comments on what ship you want us to do next, along with your thoughts on the Cerritos, the California class, being in stow. Have you used it? Do you have it? Do you enjoy it? Do you find it lackluster in certain spots, places you wish you could be better? Give us your thoughts, and maybe what ship you think should be added next in Star Trek Online. Because right now I can't really think of anything, because they already added the Protostar. And I think the next ship I would like to see them add it's from one of the Lower Decks episodes. It looks like the Excelsior, but it's not. It's a different class. I don't know exactly its name, but that would be a good ship to add. Some more Lower Deck stuff. And a Moopsie. We must have a Moopsie. Moopsie combat pet. Alright, we're gonna mess up some Borg. We're gonna show these Borg who runs the Lower Decks around here. Alright. That being said, so as I said, the Hive Onslaught is just a cluster of a bunch of things in here. So you kind of want to figure out where you want to enter at and maximize your output while being able to survive the damage, because whoever generates the most damage takes the most aggro. And we got a good mixture of different ships in here. We got temporal ships in here, some more battle cruisers. So it's gonna be an interesting run, ladies and gentlemen. Let's blow them up.
Is futile.
Alright. Let's light these Borg up. Ow, 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 ow. There you can see I activated the terraforming. So it's kind of start affecting the Borg here soon. They got me tractor beamed. Ow, 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 let's focus this cube. Target the assimilator. Increase throttle. That hurt. That hurt a lot. Get some extra power in here. Get some extra power. Good power levels. Got some terraforming, Mr. Board. He was confused yet he's still attacking me. Ow, 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 ow. I knew that was coming. Those stinking warp core breaches, man, they're nasty. Yeah, she is not a tank, but she can do some decent damage pretty quick if you do it right. Up our speed. Lion in here, we're gonna beat up some Borg. Why am I struggling to get this Borg shield thing? They seem to be getting tougher and tougher. Oh, bloody cutscenes. Someone's got me killed. I'm gonna save. I want to save the terraforming for the diamond if it works. Power levels. Diamond is now. It's surrounded by terraforming. He does alright. He died pretty quick.
This is not the end.
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, we died at least once, but again, she's not a tank, she's a cruiser, she's made to do a little bit both. Go ahead and leave the map, and we'll go queue up for ISA. You can see how quickly they munch through those shields. Borg are a pain sometimes. Rank queue for ISA. Also, going to do more Vortex because ISA seems to be taking some good. It's good old time queuing, so at least put us in for both, and whatever pops we'll go with. But as you can see, the terraforming thing is fun because it comes off cooldown pretty quick, especially with using unconventional systems. Anytime I activate a control ability, it comes off cooldown a little bit quicker, so it is nice. So, waiting on the system to put us into a TFO. While we do that, though, I'm gonna fly this around a little bit because just looking at it, stunning. She's not slow too. She can pick up speed pretty quick. Like this isn't too bad for a. There's ISA. It's not too bad for a cruiser. Like it's moving. Usually cruisers are much slower than this, and the turn rate's not terrible. So, a good cruiser, I would say. A good placeholder. If you like the Cerritos, you should get uniform and get the split beam rifle from the Liberty store to get to a full lower decks themed character. That's what I would do. That and they need to add Moopsy into the game. They need to add a combat Moopsy so bad. He's so funny watching. I don't know who. If you all don't know who Moopsy is, you need to go watch the episode. Just watching Moopsy run around, it would be hilarious. It would be fantastic. All right, everything's off cooldown. Here comes the fun part.
Scanning the nanite transformer. Gun.
We're gonna confuse them. Activate the cloud. Woo! They're dying quick. That's much better. Here we go. I'm the #1 aggro. Increase speed a little bit, kind of get us moving. Gotta get this transfer down. Come on. There it goes. There's no explosion. That's weird. Yeah, bug. Alright, that one's dead. Gateway's activated. We're gonna confuse it so it doesn't attack me. Power. Give it some terraforming, shall we? That's right, Mr. Gateway, go away. And the cube's dead already. Nice. Ow. Not bad, much better than Hive Onslaught. So it can do damage pretty good. It's still movable, it doesn't take very long to move around. Texturing on this map is weird. Alright. Alright, now for our 2 patrols, and that will be it. First up, we'll do 9th rule, because that usually is the one that takes the longest.
Looks like there was a fight.
Time to go beat up whatever the game decides to throw my way. Let's go take a look-see.
Lead the way. Shurgat will follow. Reading a single Ferengi vessel. Marauder class.
Oh, why is it Mokai every time? Mokai and their little virtual impulse burst is so annoying. Get out of here, Mokai. No one wants you around. It's a good way to kind of show off what it looks like. You can see the little effect happening. See how it's like little spikes coming out. So cool watching them getting beat up. Yeah, I was chasing them. Pulling them in. That's a fun ability. It is.
Well, they're
Right, increase power. Sniper is activated. And now they fight each other. Nice Terrence now. Gonna be too hard. Look on my stuff. I like stuff. Yes, yes, yes. We're taking you to prison. Yada, yada, yada.
I'll tell you where the Duncan Crown jewels are hidden.
No, you won't. You're such a liar. Look at that. It's already off cooldown already. And they're all going to be in a cluster because they can't get out. This cloud thing is broken. And it keeps rebuilding itself too, so it never ends. Yes, all the items are dropping. And it's back on cooldown. Here you go, Terrence. Have some more terraforming. This is so broken. It's the chaos and carnage that leaves behind. And that's it. They're all dead. Look at all the free items. Yes. Give me all the items. Click. Click. Yes. Click.
What Modron's on his
Go away. I want my items before we leave. Let's collect our items. Bam the click. There's so much stuff here. It's not even shrinking. I mean, look how long this list of take item is. I can't even see the top of it. Oh, now I can. Spam the click, spam the click, spam it, spam it. And boom. All cleaned up. My inventory is probably almost filled. Alright, one more TFO to do, and that's Wanted, and that will be it for today's review, ladies and gentlemen. Alright. Trolls. Delta. Wanted. The Kazon are about to get their butts kicked by a good old California class. I'm on loading screen. Just in. Just in. I was just thinking about it. In the comments below, let me know what you guys' favorite ships are. Because my personal favorite is the Excelsior 2 and the Honey 3 are my two favorites. And the Odyssey class is just absolutely beautiful. Um, but Excelsior 2, Odyssey, top 2. I wish we would see more Odyssey on screen, but they retired it after Picard, if you guys have seen that. Alright. Kazon, I'm coming for you. Dead, dead, and dead. Come on, Kay. Bethans, answer the hail.
Looks like our fight got them to notice us.
Mhm.
Let's go over and ask if their thaws might come out of hiding.
Yes, now fight each other.
Keep concentrating fire on individual ships. Separate them. Whittle down their numbers. We will not go quietly.
Are you sure? Because you seem to be going pretty quiet.
You will stand
Getting your
down
butts whooped.
and surrender to the message guard. Sensors are picking up small habitations in some of the asteroids, possibly consistent with old, temporary hideouts.
I do not send my condolences to these, Kazon. You walked into this yourself.
We do what we want, where we want.
Not for long, you won't be.
Picked up a tight beam transmission on a new frequency. We're jamming that spectrum of their comms now, but it was probably a call for assistance.
That's a punch. And dead.
You with me?
I saved this just for you, Mr. Flagship. Have some clouds. The ship is just covered in it. Get terraformed. We already had it down to 70% health. That was pretty good. And that is it.
We'll send over a pacification
That
party
is
to
hysterical.
take the suspect into custody.
Items.
We have the suspect in custody now.
All right, deport the system. Kazan got their butts kicked. All right, captains. That will be practically it. Just some final thoughts on the ship. If you have this ship, congratulations. This ship is hilarious and fun to fly around. It has good maneuverability. It's not terrible for a cruiser. It can do a lot of stuff that you ask it to do. It can tank a good bit. It can do DPS. It's still a cruiser, so it's going to be a little squishy, not as strong as, say, a dreadnought or stuff like that. But console that comes with it, the layout, it's it is a fun ship to toy around with. And if you can get the other low-buy stuff, like the uniform and the Shaxx cannon and the weapons, you can literally just do a lower dex theme character, and it would be fantastic to have this ship along your side, and it will serve you well. So with that being said, that is it for today's Priority 1 Shipyard. I thank you all for joining me on today's review. I wish you all a great day, and I'll see you all among the stars.